All right. This meeting is called to order. Please rise to the table for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. This meeting of July 15, 2024 was included in the list of meetings notice sent to the Hunterdon County Democrat and Courier News on January 3, 2024, posted on the bulletin board at Borough Hall on that date, and has remained continuously posted as required. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the Borough Clerk. Can I have a roll call, please?
George, Councilwoman Engelhardt,
Here.
Councilwoman Sora,
Here.
Councilman Lovett,
Here.
Council President Long,
Here.
Councilman Parker.
Here.
Council Vice President Zay.
I'm here. Is Terry vote on?
Do you want to start?
Yeah, we're gonna start with the discussion on the PFAS issue. As all of you know, we engaged an attorney who's doing that class action suit against the pond, et cetera, and but we are still under, EPA reg rule, as is all of the country, to address this issue. So Terry wanted some time to let you all know what was going on. Go ahead, Terry, you're on. You have to take yourself off mute. Terry. There you go. There you
Hi,
go.
everybody. Sorry about that.
Okay.
I'm still learning Zoom workplace here, so just bear with me. Hi, everyone. Talking about the PFAS status. Couple things going on. One, there are 2 of 4 settlement claims, class action lawsuits against 2 of the former manufacturers who made these PFAS chemicals. We've been working with the borough's claims attorney, Stephen Sullivan, and we're pleased to report that the initial claims for the first 2 lawsuits where they're taking claims, I believe it was 3M and DuPont, were filed last week. The deadline was July 12th. I just looked at the site tonight. I think the deadlines were extended a couple weeks until July 26th, but in any event, the 2 claims for settlement monies where we could file have been successfully filed. There's 2 others that'll be coming later in the year. I believe it's Tyco and BASF. And I'm sure that when the claims deadlines come up for those, we'll file for those as well. The second thing that we talked about, this is a federal mandate that all the country's potable water systems are doing to treat for these PFAS chemicals where they've been found in the water supply, and they have been found in Flemington. We did a budgetary estimate in June that we provided to modify and treat all of the existing operational wells, and we came up with a budgetary estimate of $3.6 million to treat all of the wells. In addition to claims money, we're ready to file an iBank application where iBank is currently forgiving principal forgiveness of 50% of the cost of the work. So in other words, based upon the current policy, if the project came in at $3 million for argument's sake, you would get a loan if you went entirely through iBank, and they would forgive 1.5 million of the principal, and you'd be paying on 1.5 of that. We are also, based upon last week's discussion at the Public Works meeting, possibly considering applying for USDA money as well. And that would be in addition to iBank. But in summary, we're trying to get ahead of all possible funding avenues to help lessen the hit on the borough.
Gary, that 3.6 million, that's for equipment, right? That
That's
doesn't,
that's for treatment, contractors, engineering, design, everything.
but the equipment, there's the resin or the charcoal or whatever it is. That's an additional cost. It has to be changed every how often?
Yes, well, that's an operational requirement,
Sure.
and that's you're absolutely right, Mayor. That's going to be a long-term maintenance cost after these systems are installed. We had talked with Josh and Mike. There's two treatment preferences. I believe one is activated carbon, one is resin. They indicated a preference towards the resin. But it's going to depend upon how much material you're actually taking out in the filter media. If it's a slight amount, the resin is going to last longer. If you have a well where it's removing higher concentrations of materials, including PFAS, then that filter is going to have to be changed more often. I'm guessing you're typically changing a filter once every few months, plus or minus. We're not going to know, frankly, what the frequency is until we get these installed.
I know that Josh's fear with the charcoals, because we have such hard water in this town, that with
Yeah.
charcoal, it'll be taking out everything, or it'll blow through filters like constantly versus the resin, which will only target the PFAS.
Correct. Yeah, I think the costs are comparable. PFAS or the iron resin may be a little more. But yeah, absolutely. We're going to follow what Josh and what the staff tell us.
3 or 4 times the length of the charcoal, then it's worth it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Hopefully the iron resin is going to last longer. That's one thing about the activated carbon. The activated carbon will filter out other materials in addition to the PFAS chemicals. So
So what's
that
the-
would be an advantage.
What is the next step? Like, what's the next step? Are you designing? Like, is Josh looking for systems? Are you looking for systems? Are we waiting for some kind of settlement? Do you know when that's expected? Like, what?
We're waiting process.
Thank you. I didn't want to say what's the next step again.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
Where are we in process right now? What are the next steps? We're moving
Really
forward.
is going to be authorizing a preliminary design of all the facilities. If we go the IBank and also the USDA route, they are going to be looking for some design basis to substantiate the amount of money that we're asking for. So I would say commission preliminary designs, and we can get the borough budgetary numbers as to what that is. Everything that we do would be reimbursable ultimately against IBank, but obviously you'd have to outlay money until you close on the loan.
So I think Josh told us that there was a 6 to 8 month lead time to even get anybody to like
Yeah,
price any of these things out, right?
I'm sure it's in high demand now because literally the entire country is looking at these.
Start getting us quotes or something.
Yeah.
So hopefully he did that.
Yeah,
And when does anybody expect to hear from the attorney? Where is that the next step?
that I don't know. Like I said, the original claim for the first two, the 3M and the DuPont, they were due last Friday. I just looked at the website today, and it looks like those two claim deadlines were extended until July 26th. So, depending upon when they stop receiving claims, I would imagine and I'm guessing, I'm not an attorney. Well, you know, maybe within 30 to 60 days, we have to your attorney, Stephen Sylvan. He sounds like he's been in regular contact with the federal government, whoever the feds have assigned to this. And he's got real-time information in terms of when these would be turned around. I know that there's something else, and I just asked my staff today. There is some phase one requirement that's currently due August 26th. I have to find out what that is and make sure that we don't miss that.
Okay,
But I'm guessing on the claims, since we got involved in a lot of the history on it and we got involved with a lot of the testing on the compounds, I'm hoping a lot of the legwork in the claims is done. And that when the other two claims come on board later in the year, that's more a case of dusting them off and then resubmitting, and hopefully more money's available.
okay. Does anybody have questions for Terry on this?
A couple, but I know that Carla and I had been in contact with the attorneys. So if you want, one of us can certainly reach out and see what's going on.
I know, Mike can't be in this interview.
He's on here, do you want me to bring him in?
Mike wants to come on, he can come on. Tell us, because I think he was interviewed, I thought he was deposed or interviewed or something. Mike? Hi, Mike.
There he is.
Take yourself off mute, please.
Hello,
Hey,
Hello.
Mike.
I texted Councilwoman Frizaro. Our attorney said by the end of the year, checks should be going out for the settlement.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
Do you know what this August 26th date is?
Yeah, that's something I just saw on the site today. If you go to my engineer's report, I put a copy of the web link into this PFAS claim site. You can basically go look at the site. I pulled it up today. Let me see if I still have a copy open. Hang on. They refer to this. This is after the initial claims, which got pushed back until July 26th. They have this down as a phase one special needs claims form. So I have a question into my staff to find out what that is, and make sure that whatever has to be done is going to be done correctly in time.
Anybody else
But
have any questions for Terry on this or Mike?
I may have, I think I just forgot. What is so our requirement to do this, what's the due date on that? When are we required to do that by?
I don't know if there is a firm due date on the PFAS. This is an EPA thing that the whole country is doing. I can get that answer. I know, for example, on certain deadlines, we're working on the water service lines. That has a deadline of 2023 of 2031 ultimately. I don't know if there is a PFAS deadline, or if so, what it is, but I can find out.
That would be good to know, because it would be prudent for the council's budget to escrow some money every year into a line item. If it's 5 years away or 6 years away versus reacting to it at that point and spending all that money at once without having anything down.
Yeah, and
Find out when it's all due, even if we get some prices and stuff, we don't have to spend the money now. I don't want to spend the money now.
yeah,
Because we still have to bond for the full amount, even if we get half of it back from my bank.
sure.
You know, water department's gonna have to bond from all of it now, and they're getting that way up there in their bond capacity.
Yeah,
So,
well, we have to get the iBank application in, and then again, if the borough wants to pursue USDA as well, we can certainly do that. But I would definitely get iBank in first, given that they're going to forgive at least half of it. We can put together numbers on some concept design between now and the end of the year, that when we get it claimed, hopefully by year's end, we'll know what we're getting in the claims on the first two companies. There's going to be two other company claims, which are going to be filed later. So we'll know what we're going to be getting on at least some of the claims near year's end, hopefully.
anybody have any other questions on PFAS for Terry or Mike? If not, Terry, while we have you, I know there's other things with you on the agenda, and I know that Councilman Levitt has a question, so.
Sure.
even though it's sinking out of the agenda, that's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you.
Not a problem.
Hi, Terry. I had a few questions about the this is the municipal aid grant for CNJDOT, right?
Uh-huh,
It's on the agenda tonight. Could you just
right.
go over that and what exactly we're applying for, asking for, project details, how this was decided? Pretty much a general overview of the whole thing, I guess.
Sure. This is an annual local aid grant that we and most municipalities in the state apply for. NJDOT puts out an annual local aid to all the towns. Typically, most towns that make application, if it's an eligible project, if it meets the DOT's objectives, more towns get funding than not. It's not guaranteed, but if you put in a DOT application that checks all the boxes, you know, they have their own priorities in terms of what kind of road, what kind of travel, is it a collector, things of that nature that we put in for. We put in this year, and this was working in conjunction with Mike Campion. The decision was to put in for a portion of New York Avenue between Broad and Route 31, and then a portion of Broad, I believe, between New Jersey Avenue and Maple Avenue that were for reconstruction. Reconstruction is when you have major issues with the existing paving, and it's not a simple mill and overlay. If you see a lot of places, people will just take an inch or two off the top. They'll basically mill it off and then just put it back. When you're doing reconstruction, you're anticipating that you have to do repairs to the underlying base course and or subgrade. It's more than just a mill and overlay. We scope both of these jobs assuming conservatively that they were reconstruction. We're going to hear from the DOT. I expect the borough is going to get a grant award. I don't know how much. This is kind of an art to a certain point. A lot of towns will put in for $750,000, and depending upon how much money's available that year, we may get a grant anywhere between $300,000 and $500,000. When we get the grant award, we have to see what the award is versus what we estimated the entire project scope would cost. And the borough can choose, if you don't have enough money, do you want to kick in your own? Or if you don't want to kick in your own money due to funding concerns or whatever, we can dial it back. We can actually reduce the scope of the project that we're going to fund, but we may not get everything. We may do New York Avenue and only one portion of Broad Street, or no portions of Broad Street, depending upon where the grant came in versus the projected cost. But this is something that is typically done every year. Flemington, from what I've seen, at least in recent years, you've gotten an annual grant. And most towns do.
When we receive the grant, do we have to complete that work within a certain time frame?
As a general policy, yes, and it's funny you mention that. Typically, DOT will give you 18 months. Now, if you don't meet the 18 months, you can request an extension. And we had to do that. We have 2 existing grants that we've been working with DOT ad nauseum to get us to authorize. One of which was a DOT grant that was approved. It was a 2022 grant. I believe it was Williams. Where the borough found out last year, hey guys, you have this grant and you're about to lose it. We requested an extension and got it. We had to request a second extension because the DOT came back and told us that we needed State Historic Preservation Office approval, among 10 other things, to get the project authorized. So the short answer is yes, you typically have 18 months. You can get extensions. You kind of try not to if you can avoid it.
Harry, this is Susan.
Yes.
Is there I know that in the past, we've been given a really great kind of priority list from DPW. when, because this is kind of an annual thing, is there a priority, that priority list last year, I think it was more for sewer, water, utility work. Is there a
Correct.
sewer priority list? You know, that DPW kind of keeps up to date, and of course, some things that might be on the top of the list one year get shifted, you know, 1 or 2 spots, depending on what, you know, what's more urgent. Is there a similar list to that, that DPW shares with you, so that you have an idea of which project you wanna go for? I guess the short end of the question is, how is that decided on this, for this yearly grant?
Mike
That you know you're
Mike
gonna be
is on the call, Mike should answer that question.
Maybe Mike is a better person.
Sure, I'll be glad to answer. The local aid grant, the DOT favors when the road ties into a state highway, a school zone, a county road. So that's how we base the local aid on.
Yeah, that's a good point, and that's part of what we typically try to do in all our towns. We want the applications to be applications that we think are going to be viewed favorably by the NJDOT.
But is there like a kind of a wish list that you go through every year? This is, okay, we got to file our local DOT aid grant this year. Which, you know, what are we putting on the top of the list this year? Knowing that those parameters are more favorable than others.
I think
we
we
do-
could work with Mike on that and develop, you know, 2 or 3 top ones, you know, for the next couple of years.
Well, let Mike answer the question. Let Mike answer.
Well, I guess is
Yeah.
there such a list? That's my question.
Sure, when we got a directive from Mayor Carroll to list the priorities of our roads between water, sewer, and then we'll call it the surface. And that's how we came up with the list last year of the priorities. It was the first time we did, well, no, I should say we did it when Carla Tabucci was on council. That was like 12 years ago. But we did a 30-year plan and it just died out. And then under Mayor Carroll's directive, we put this list together, which we're going off of.
Okay, that was the answer to my question, is this project is based on that list we received last year. Thank you, that's what I was looking for.
Anybody have anything else for Terry?
I just have one more
Go ahead.
question, I guess, regarding selection criteria and stuff like that, and yeah, how we design this project. Right now, it sounds like it's just like what you said, reconstruction of the road surface and stuff like that. Are there any considerations or any projected improvements for things like traffic safety, pedestrians, anything of that nature included that, you know, we could apply for, maybe scale back if we don't get the money, or was that taken into consideration?
There are things that you can do within a road. In other words, if we get a grant for what we applied for, DOT is fairly strict in terms of how they administrate the grant. If we get the grant and we get a good grant amount that we think can cover most, if not all, of these 2 roads, there are items that are eligible under DOT. We'll typically look at, you have to do things like making sure that the ADA ramps are all current per federal regulations. That's a given. We may want to look at directional signage, stop bars, things of that nature. All of those items would be DOT grant funding eligible. We can't do something that they would not consider to be an eligible cost. Obviously, if the borough wanted to, they could put in their own money to fund something that the DOT may not fund. But they're typically going to let you do conventional safety type items.
So for example, like, you know, the NJDOT has their 2017 complete streets design guide, stuff that's in there, I would hope would be eligible for their own grant and stuff like that.
If it's applicable to what we're doing on these roads, yes. You know, these are 2 existing roadways. We're not expanding the roads or redesigning the roads, so. We're basically going to, for the most part, put back what is in terms of paving and certain sub-base repairs. You know, there are things you do as part of any DOT project, anytime you have paving that's in contact with handicap accessible ramps, you have to make sure that those ramps are all current or upgrade them. You have a stormwater requirement that anytime that paving is in contact with stormwater grates, you have to install the updated grates. There are certain eligible expenses, but like I said, if we were redesigning the road, if we were expanding it or relocating it, we could look at the 2017 manual. I think in this case, since we're reconstructing an existing roadway without expanding it, unless the borough has any ideas about changing direction, lanes, whatever, it's going to be the same road that we ultimately put back.
I mean, it sounds like, I don't think we're improving the part that I would imagine most people have complaints about, but I'm almost certain that residents for, you know, most roads in this town, and I think that includes Broad Street, complain of things like speeding, stuff like that, you know. And I guess just, you know, future projects and grants, you know, I would go kind of take that into consideration.
Yeah, that's actually a whole separate field of DOT, or not even DOT, traffic design. There's a whole field that's really emerged dealing with speed, that's known as traffic calming. And there's a whole world of ideas and technology that you can look at if you need to slow down in certain places. You've seen some of them. You've probably seen speed bumps, which very few towns like. The people who plow hate them because you end up shearing the plow. Speed humps are a little better, but I mean, you can, if you have problem areas where you know you have speed issues in certain parts of town, there's some pretty creative stuff now. You can change the actual texture of the paving in an area. You can change the color. You can put in flashing lights. There's really many options that you can look at if you have specific problem areas. That's something to consider.
Thank you.
Anything else for Terry? Thank you so much, Terry. Appreciate your time tonight.
No problem. My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you. Here's a report. I just want to mention that the Shade Tree Commission and the Environmental Commission had a joint meeting for the first time, I think, ever, to discuss a number of items. Very productive meeting. One was the draft of the checklist for compliance with the planning board, which is on the agenda tonight, which they had no issues with. The other ones are the tree cutting ordinance required by the state New Jersey DEP and our current list of acceptable trees for the borough, and that list is probably 30 years old. There's a lot of trees, you know, the trend now is to go with native New Jersey deciduous, not ornamentals that do nothing for the environment. So Beth McManus, our planner, attended that meeting, as did Councilwoman Rossetti as liaison to Shade Tree, and myself as liaison to Environmental Commission. And Councilman Levitt is a member of the Environmental Commission there as well. And we asked Beth to take a comprehensive look at the state's ordinance and our ordinance, which trees appear in a number of ordinances, and Mike DeLuca from Shade Tree had a number of suggestions, so she's working to have something before the council. Getting comments back from both commissions prior, hopefully to the August meeting, if not, definitely in September. You know, although this tree cutting ordinance was supposed to be passed like in May, the DEP had no teeth to that. They didn't have an or else. So we're as long as you're working towards something, and I think it's really important that we have a really good significant ordinance, because we have so much flooding in this town now, that having the proper trees that are gonna drink as much water as possible is a really good idea. And you know, we've had a number of residents and maybe some new business owners who have come in and chopped down significantly large trees without permits and they've gotten fined for it. And so we're looking at the replacement part of this ordinance, you know, replacing trees, contribution if there's no place somebody doesn't want to plant a new tree. You know, as you're all aware, the Shade Trees budget this year came from that tree cutting fund. So it does accumulate over time. But I think the council members would agree, it was an incredibly productive meeting. And everybody left really, I think, very satisfied about the work they had accomplished so far, so. That's really, my other reports are all scattered through, you know, and other topics in this agenda, so I will move on. Council President Vaughn?
Good evening. Fire department attended the annual fireworks display this year and everything went well and without incident. There were 23 incidents in June, and these are just some numbers. As usual, these aren't all the incidents, just a sampling of kinds of events the department responded to. So 5 false alarm, false calls, 2 gas leaks, 2 combined and contained cooking fires, 1 building fire, 1 authorized wood burning, unauthorized burning, and 1 forest/wood fire. And since our department does help out in other areas, specifically Raritan Township, 11 of those 23 calls were in the township, with the exception of the Wadland fire incident. They were high hazard incidents of either gas, smoke, or a fire in a structure. OEM, several things. All residents are urged to remain aware of the excessive heat and humidity expected to continue to have an impact on the area through the middle of this week. Additionally, some thunderstorms will be possible each day, mainly during the afternoon and evening period. Heat index values are up to 105, from 105 to 110 degrees. Continuing through Wednesday. Residents needing to seek shelter from the heat may use the Flemington Free Public Library as a cooling center. And the library schedule their hours Monday 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., Tuesday 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Wednesday 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Same for Thursday. Friday is 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturday is 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. July is Emergency First Aid Preparedness Month. Disaster can result in numerous injuries to yourself, to those around you, including family, coworkers, and neighbors. Having an emergency first aid kit with the right equipment is essential for providing care to the injured in the hours and days to follow. Disasters often create challenges for hospitals as well, which may be dealing with structural damage, difficulties in getting staff to the hospital, and a large influx of injured patients. As a result, an emergency first aid kit designed for use in a disaster must serve multiple purposes. 1, contain provisions for minor injuries and illnesses. 2, provide life-saving equipment for severe injuries. And 3, serve as a resource for longer-term issues, such as wound care or minor illnesses when access to a hospital is limited. Commercially sold aid kits provide a great starting point, but will require additional equipment to provide sufficient supplies in a disaster. Consider buying a large kit or purchasing several smaller ones, and then supplementing with additional equipment and supplies as needed. Residents looking for more info can visit ready.gov for checklists and product recommendations. And that is my report.
Thank you, Council President. And on the note of the fireworks, I just want to publicly thank Mark Kane, who raised the money for the fireworks basically by himself, and as always, contracted with the fireworks company. He's been doing that for the borough for years. I don't even know how many years, but he's a great volunteer.
It was also our highest attended fireworks.
How many people did you estimate?
It's over 7,000.
So we have a population of under 5. So
Yeah, it was.
I hope Raritan Township appreciates the
Yeah.
fireworks.
It was mobbed, and the side streets were absolutely stable.
But they were parked down at my house, I know.
Yeah, no, everything's good.
It was packed.
They were actually really good fireworks this year.
Yes.
I mean, they were unusually really good this year. Not that they were bad.
I mean, the weather
They
was
were just-
perfect,
they
too.
were just-
And you have to shell out $25,000 for fireworks, and then for the next 3 days, people are blowing off illegal fireworks at their homes. Can't.
I have an ordinance for that.
Okay, yes.
It's everywhere.
Yeah, I know. It was never like this in New Jersey until the legislature did what they did. All right, moving on. Council Vice President Pizzetti.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I would like to echo thanks for the fireworks. I can attest that there were even more people because everyone in all the backyards along my street was out too, and we weren't even down getting counted. So great show. Thank you to everyone involved in that. Also, as the mayor mentioned, she went in great detail about that joint meeting, environmental and shade tree. That was excellent. I thank everyone for, coming together and really trying to make some progress on those things. Shade Tree also had their regularly scheduled meeting last Wednesday, and there was a lot of positive feedback during that as well on this whole ordinance that we're trying to get together with the trees. So that's all I've got though. Thank you, everyone.
Council Vice President. Right, which week did we go last week? Councilwoman Engelhardt.
Thank you. The Sam Fleming House had their ice cream social over the weekend and it was a big success, and I think that he probably attributed to some of that because people like ice cream when they're hot. I want to make sure that we thank our local ShopRite for the donations. I want to make sure I thank the board of trustees for doing such a great job over the weekend. Councilman Levitt showed up, so thank you for that as well. The energy plan report, the energy plan that y'all approved 2 weeks ago. I've spent the last couple of weeks taking all of that word, all those words that were in that big spreadsheet and making them into the actual report that's submitted to BPU. And got some good feedback from them already, as well as Sustainable Jersey. There is some strange numbers related to both demographics and our industrial counts. I think mainly because sometimes the demographics gets mixed up with the 08822 area code. So they think we have like a lot of industry or, so basically when I counted up all the percentages that we were over 100%, so people, so that didn't work. So Sustainable Jersey is looking into that. For me, I actually just had a meeting with them today. So that's that final report should be coming out soon. You'll see that in your inboxes, and I'll ask Carla if you could also post that to the website as well. Finally, yes, I also wanted to mention all the thanks to for the fireworks being a big success, and special thanks to Mark Kane. Mark and I and Trent spent a lot of time, especially the week before, together. And I wanted to thank the police, the fire, the CERT, the EMTs, I think all the emergency services. I think that as the county seat, we're certainly honored to host. I know personally, I had friends that came as far away as Stockton, and everybody was really impressed and just said what a wonderful show it was. So we're honored to host, but it is a cost, and I don't want to put a damper on that, but we do need to kind of address that earlier in the game, maybe later in this year before we go into the budget planning for next year. And that's all I have.
Okay, Chris, before I move on to another council member, the issue with changing locations so just so everybody knows, you all approved, well, not all of you, but most of you approved last year having a second cannabis location at 25 Burgers. That application is falling apart because Raritan Township will not allow it to be heard at their planning board.
3.5 parking spots, something like
Or 3.5 parking spots.
something like that. It's
Right.
not a lot.
So they have cited a new location that they are interested in. But those applications, Chris, were site specific that the subcommittee looked at. And they also have to pay an application fee because they're gonna have retail as well as the medical. They only paid one application fee. So I don't know if it's appropriate, like I'm asking you if I can disclose the other location to the council probably, or is it, I don't know if that's a real estate negotiation, so.
Maybe we should discuss that. It's real estate.
Okay, so,
Yeah, 100%.
so we can add that to our executive session, just so I can apprise them of what's going on,
100%.
okay.
Should we amend the agenda to acknowledge that in the executive section? That's one of the subjects to be discussed.
What would it be under with us, cause it's really
It's
about,
emerging from a litigation matter,
it is,
which you,
but that's not with Vernon Township, that was with another
yeah,
company,
still come out of litigation.
Right. Or contract
And we
negotiations,
have, I mean, there
or,
may be some contract negotiation element to it as well.
okay.
I would be fine with it one.
Well, either way, if there's an update to that lawsuit,
There-
well, we, you know.
The lawsuit
good to
you're
have a-
dismissed from,
update.
so there's,
Yeah, but we could do it in either one, yeah, whichever one you're comfortable with.
I think under contract negotiations, I'm more.
Whichever one is
comfortable.
okay.
So can I have a motion to amend the agenda on the executive session to add contract negotiations, both phones,
And Gilbert will second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, I just thought of that I thought there was something on the agenda for that, but there isn't.
That might have been the item that you and I were surfing for.
So we were both saying we
Yeah.
we're missing something, missing
Yes,
something.
yes.
Okay, all right, so sorry about that all. Councilman Levitt?
So everybody kind of took all mine, yes, the shade tree and the environmental commission meeting, I thought it was very productive, that was a very good time, and I'm very much looking forward to the updates of the ordinances that come out of that. The HPC meeting for this Wednesday, July 17th, will be canceled, we didn't have any applications or anything like that, and I have members on vacation, so no meeting. Of course, the fireworks were a fantastic success, I thought they were very good time. Thank you to everybody who helped to put that together and make that happen. In animal control news, I personally helped reconnect a lost dog to their owner by posting about it on Facebook. To the best of my knowledge, I didn't get to reach out to them, but it seems like they got the dog and everybody was happy. Yes, the ice cream social was a good time. I'm never gonna say no to free ice cream, and I think that's about it for this week.
Thank you.
As the dog owner, thank you.
You're welcome.
Right, Councilwoman Pissarro.
Okay, so, the planning board meeting last week was canceled, so I have no updates on that. It was literally a matter of a light agenda, much like HPC this week. I am in possession of and have read all 21 pages of the library audit. The year, it was year end 2023, they are in extremely strong financial position. Couple questions Mayor and I had, but I think we can address those, perhaps publicly at a later date. But very, very strong financial position. A few months ago, as a member of the library board or the liaison, we lifted the fines that people pay for returned books. One of the things that came out in 2023 and 2022 in the audit is that we're only obtaining about $320 a year about in late fines or late fees. So I'm very happy that we did that. It's something that we have not really published or publicized out there. But we do feel like it's a great way to keep people engaged in the library. Just making sure that people have the ability to come in, pick up a book, return it. And again, it's very, very light. So now having seen the results and the financial results of it and the popularity of it, people continue to give donations, even though they are, so look at $10 or whatever, which is great. Those are the easy things. So in our public works meeting, it has come, I don't want to say it's come to light. When we first purchased the building for the new police department, I don't think that at the time we considered some of the infrastructure issues that we were going to encounter. And so Ken Deal walked us through last week a very detailed, here's what's going on with sewage in the police department. So I've got, Tony, this is more of a public works issue than it is a police department issue. Yeah, it's a public works issue. So the sewer pipes that come out of the police department are really not designed for that building's current use. In addition to that, we're waiting on easement approval, which really drives the easiest way to fix these sewer lines is to access an easement, which would take that sewer line completely through the Broad Street.
Route 12.
Route 12, yeah. I have Broad Street.
No, it's 12.
It's Route 12, yeah, okay, so it's Route 12. So this wasn't addressed prior to the building being purchased, and so now we're once again trying to make something fit and fix it. So for the past 2 months, the sewer pump in the basement has failed 3 times, police department. And it's literally coming up into the basement. That's a health issue for our officers and for anyone in the building. My understanding is that lower basement levels, like it's actively used, there's like an active targeted use for the police department. So we are coming into decision time of, are we going to need to replace the pump as it exists in the building? Do we replace the pump outside or do we continue to fix it? And I think after 3 breaks in 2 months, it's really ridiculous to try and continue to put a Band-Aid on this. Just, and again, the health, I have a health, sanitary health issue for the officers and anybody who's going into that building. So now here's where it gets to the hard part. So Ken Deal and Mike Canty and that team has reached out to the company who's been redesigning police department.
I think, is Angela on again?
Angela, are you on right now?
Is she on?
Yes.
You can see that for Chris?
I can't even
Alright, so PSNS is on.
Okay, great.
On.
Angela, can you address?
Well, can I just back up a little bit?
Sure.
So just to remind the council that you did approve PSNS to design a pit and pump system inside the building to address this problem. And that cost was a little over $8,000. I think the DPW was caught off guard in how fast Angela prioritized this because it was shutting down active construction in the building.
Yeah.
And she got it done so fast that even though DPW was at the site meeting, and even though
Yeah.
the summary of the site, she had the whole plan done in 3 days. And at that point, the DPW was like, whoa, we really want it outside, and she designed inside. So so that's really, because their concern, Ken's concern, is that we don't get this easement. And that if we don't get the easement, having a pit and pump inside the building, which is gonna smell every time they have to pump it out, is going to be a long-term public nuisance.
It's
And-
also not gonna be, it's also puts this at risk when there is a person coming to the
Yeah.
DNA, so.
Yes,
but
so
it's not even.
I talked to the owner of the property on which we want the easement last week. He indicated he didn't know, and he had been called by his attorney his attorney hadn't let him know that we had sent the survey and the easement paperwork. So he was gonna call his attorney. I didn't hear from him. I called him again today and left a message. And I haven't heard from him, and I asked,
We also didn't hear.
you never heard back, Alex, our attorney
I
handled
told
this.
him that all again in the morning.
So,
All day.
so Ken has represented to me and reaffirmed to me, last week. That if he had certainty when we were gonna be able to sign for this easement and start getting a new sewer line in, it was gonna be a month, 6 months, or a year. He would feel so much better about just letting this work proceed, but in uncertainty. He feels strongly that it should be outside because then they don't have to access the police building and there won't be any work being done in there or smell or anything like that. The additional work, Angela, I know Angela is sick over this because she purposely rushed this job because.
I know,
It's fast and
trying to not hold everything up and yeah.
Yeah, so Cora sent me a quote today, it was 45 or 4,600, I can't remember.
4,500?
4,500, 4,500.
Now design and outside. And, Angela, off the top of your head, and I'm just throwing this at you. Do you have any idea, would it be cheaper in the long run to put it outside than to do work inside?
I mean, it does end up, if you don't get an easement, right? It precludes issues further down the line if, you know, there's
got it,
an
yeah.
overflow.
But I mean temporarily, like hypothetically, and I'm making these numbers up because I don't have a clue. If an inside pit and pump costs 30,000, would the outside pit and pump cost 25,000? Where it's a wash spending that.
I don't know that it's a walk, that it might cost a little bit more because you're gonna have to go down deeper. Um, you're gonna have to go down and you will have also to heat trace the pipe to make sure it doesn't freeze. So there's a little more added cost. So it's weighing, you know, are you gonna get the easement or not? And if you're not, then you want to do it properly. And you want to
So,
have it with the
how
heat
this
trace and all that.
clock is ticking on this building. Adam is suspended work on where he was. We don't want to hold up this project. This is just
No.
a freaking nightmare. This is really a Gov 100 course on how not to buy a building. Honestly. You know,
Unfortunately, now it's coming back to
Right.
us and I'm.
buy a building without having any contractor or any engineer look at it, or any architect, or your DPW superintendent, anybody who knows anything like buy the building. So my question is, if we want to give Alex 24 hours to try to get this attorney to commit to when we might be able to sit down and, you know, have an emergency meeting where the town authorizes me to sign a contract and we get into this contract. What's our timetable? What's your drop dead, you think? If we authorize the 4,500 tonight
Mhm.
and say, you know, until Friday or Thursday or something like
Yeah.
that.
I'd in order to find out if oh my gosh, give me a
Okay.
second. I'm a little tired. It's been a long day. If the property owner is gonna accept the easement, is that what
Well,
you're saying?
I mean, he told me on the phone on Thursday, he was very kind. And he told
Okay,
me
good.
on Thursday that he was very willing to do the easement, he was just protecting his, you know, he wanted to make sure about snow plowing and taxes and things like that, and you know,
Okay,
and of course, all that's in the contract, everything he required of us is in the contract that he has
that's right.
his attorneys. As well as.
He just needed to, yeah, confirm it all.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that our attorney's gonna get a hold of his attorney and say, yeah, everything's good. And then
Okay,
call an emergency meeting of the council and we can authorize, you know, the whole contract thing and move forward. But, you know, what's my drop dead if the council says, all right, we'll approve 4,500, condition that the mayor doesn't hear back from the owner by Friday. Or
yeah.
Thursday.
I mean, we will be out there tomorrow because it's our regular construction meeting. Are you asking if when we would be able to get it done, or
No, I'm just asking you how much time you can wait, or Adam can wait
Adam can wait?
till
Um,
answer for you to redesign an outside pump system.
I would say that if I'd have to check with everybody's schedule because everybody's, you know, now I gotta get it back into the queue. But I would say, and as long as we have Ken's thumbs up on everything, I'm hoping within, you know, not end of this week, but the following week or that Monday, so maybe a week and a half thereabouts,
I have to hear from this guy.
that you can,
How long do you need to
oh,
design?
before you know what, probably by the end of the week, if you can get us that way, we can keep things moving along.
By Friday,
Friday, Monday at the latest,
okay, Friday close.
if you want to give them the weekend to kind of,
I don't know if anybody's calling me over the weekend.
I
I mean.
hope not.
I take calls over the weekend, I don't know about other people, so, questions from council.
Question. I hate to be a stickler on this, but the mayor mentioned that it took only 3 days for you to turn that around, which I really appreciate. I know that you guys keep track of your hours, you know, in order to stay on budget with, you know, your, you know, how many people you're putting toward this work. if we're being asked to. Approve a $4,500 contract with you guys as an emergent situation. You know, 3 days, one person is about 3,600, just round numbers, $150 an hour. So I'm wondering, how many people did you have working on this project for 3 days straight from your office? I want to make sure that we're not, the $8,000 that we spent, that you designed the inside for wasn't for naught. As opposed to now you're gonna be redoing the design, we have to spend more money on that design for the outdoor system.
Okay.
So I guess, do you have the backup of, you know, how long?
Yes, we do have a backup, and if the mayor would like it, I have no problems
appreciate
sharing
that.
it with her. Yep,
Trying to keep
I'm sorry?
everybody honest. I said I appreciate that, thank you, and I just
You're-
trying to keep everybody honest. If you didn't do it that quickly and you had 2 people working on it for 3 days.
no, we have
I don't know,
plumbing, we have electrical, we have structural, and we have architecture. So,
Right.
so there's different disciplines.
Going back.
Structural and architectural at the moment have the least lift. It's much simpler for us, but I still have time that we need to put towards it. Plumbing has the most, and then electrical after that, because the pump does get bigger, therefore they need to check the electrical. There's
Yeah,
other
I'm
things
not
that
asking
happen
you
just
to vote. I
because of
get it.
yeah.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure that we're getting our money for $8,000 that we spent, you know, X amount of hours to over 3 days. I just, we did more, I just want
Well,
to,
she's.
Yeah, we did do a lot more that
$2,000 worth of bills that were incurred with the going back and forth after the design occurred. And.
Yeah.
So I just want you to all know that she's eating about $2,000 in going back and forth to me, to the DPW, to me, to Adam, to the DPW, to her staff. Because of this, I don't even, it's not a miscommunication. I think it was like, you know, I always say government works slowly, but it works. And once in a blue moon, it works really fast. And I'm like, what the heck? You know, and I think that was the case. Everybody was just caught off guard on how fast it was done.
and I
Yeah, we
appreciate
just-
that. I'm not
yeah,
questioning
and-
anybody's ethics, I'm just asking for the backup, that's all.
absolutely.
Thank you.
If I can just put like a period on my comments on this, because as you can probably hear my voice halting about sharing this with the public. But we really, and I'm really hoping for the next 2.5 years that I'm on this council, that we really stop and think before we make. Boom, let's just do this. It seems like there's a lot of pain, and I'm coming in on this at the tail end. We bought a building, we had to buy a building, our police department was getting shut down, but it didn't seem like we really. As a governing body, we need to do a better job of not just saying, well, let's see what happens. Yeah, we all come from different disciplines, and I know that in particular, Tony and I have some parallels in our work and our industries. And there's something to be said about worst case and risk assessment. It doesn't seem like a lot of risk assessment was done when this purchase happened a few years ago. So this is the natural result, Angela, is we have to keep going back until we get it right.
I'm just gonna add.
Well, just to be clear though, if we weren't, if we think the governing body at that point in time ruled based upon the information we were given,
I think, yeah,
and we weren't given a lot of information. I think that's what you're saying.
well, I'm saying, yeah, we need to do a better job of asking questions and I do think that we're getting, Angela, I appreciate the detail and I appreciate Councilwoman Engelhardt asking extra questions. I'm sure there's some resident or business owner, or someone who owns a property is gonna have a question at some point, and we're going to have to answer it, so thank you for your.
Absolutely.
And this is why, you know, vetting these things in public, because that building also was purchased without in public discussion, which I brought up to the governing body. There was no public discussion. And when I asked the question, both the attorney directly to the attorney and directly to the mayor, there was dead silence as to when public discussion occurred. So, okay, so if there's no other questions for Angela. can I have a motion to approve the additional $4,500 for the outdoor design of the pit and pump system? But not to be expended. I don't think expended is the right word. Authorized until Monday morning, we'll go with Monday. Monday
Yeah.
morning, Monday morning, Angela. You'll have to do it directly. Okay,
What's that?
you'll hear from me directly Monday morning.
Okay,
It's or. if we
sounds
have-
good.
So can I, what?
What if this maybe amend, if I go back and look at the resolution number, amend the resolution we did last time, it'd be easier on Carl that way.
Oh, we can amend it.
And we just put some conditional language in it, give me a second, I can find it.
All right.
I mean, not a second, but 5 minutes. So,
All right. so we'll
I can
come back-
find it and
okay,
then I
we'll
can
come
just,
back to it
it's
then.
easier that way.
5 minutes.
You want me to, the amount of money she's. Amend the resolution that.
To $4,500.
It's up to
Or
you.
not
I
to be
mean, I
authorized
think that'd be
for Monday.
easier to do it for extra work. You would typically add money to the resolution.
Right.
The lands can add money to the purchase order. That would be kind of my recommendation.
Okay.
As to the money that Angela's eating. I mean, you can also add that in too if you want. I mean.
She's not asking for it, so I'm not offering,
she's
so.
right.
sorry.
I'm just saying, that's the best practices way.
Okay, all right, but I also would need to put in there that it's gotta wait to be authorized until Monday.
Yeah, we can do it.
Okay,
It's gotta
all
give
right,
me
you go ahead and do
few
that.
minutes to see if I can just go back.
All
and
right,
find
I'm
it.
gonna go back to the councilwoman and see if she has anything else, Councilwoman Sorrow.
Nothing else?
Thank you. Councilman Parker.
Really?
Really?
It's really, you really want me to go?
Yeah.
I want you to go. I'm done talking.
Well, where should I start? I'm gonna take, I wanna shorten this now. So there's two things that I wanna bring up. I wanna address FCP, I wanna address this department, I wanna address speeding. since you brought that up.
I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes, thank
Can hear
you.
me?
Yes, yes, thank you.
It's a dish. Okay, so, what I want to address FCP, I want to address some events that are going on FCP, I want to address speeding that you brought up. And I want to address, what we're doing for events. And something with the police department that Trent had asked about. So, let's start with FCP. So FCP, I remember talking last council meeting that FCP hired a marketing firm. That is going to be helping with branding and also doing the signage and designating that there are 3 distinct areas, retail areas, Highway, Main Street, and of course Stangle, right? And they're going to do a program based upon those 3 entities. The name of the company is called oh, God, I went over my stuff, hold on. Tell you. Sorry, bear with me. It's called Brand Enchanting Media. And what I would like to do is put them on the agenda for the next council meeting as a work session. So they can introduce themselves, also explain what they're going to be working on and how they're going to be helping the girls so that everybody gets a breath and a little bit more information about how they're moving forward and helping them.
How long do they need?
I would think like 45 minutes, right?
45 minutes?
Maybe 45? Do you want to do, well, you
I
tell
was thinking
me.
a presentation for 15.
Do you think they can do it in 15 minutes?
20?
Presentation, I don't know what that-
Yeah,
Presentation
I would
for
do,
20.
I don't want to give them
Yeah.
15. I don't think that that's giving them justice. I work for a marketing company. That's
But
insulting.
they're just planning it, they're not
Well,
showing it, right?
they're going to be talking to,
Okay,
yes. So anyway, so we can put them on for 20. But we're not gonna put them on for 15. That's just not enough time.
okay.
So also they've also been hired an attorney to help them with bylaws. So we're redoing all the bylaws. This attorney has a depth of information, a depth of knowledge and a depth of experience with other municipalities. And we can give you his information at another time, but I met him, he's very, very sharp. I think the entire board is really pleased with him and moving this forward.
What was the name of that company, branded company?
It's called,
Is it BRAND?
yes, Brand. BRAND.
Brand what?
brand,
Brand
like
Enchanted.
branding,
Brand
like
Enchanted.
brand new,
Enchanted?
brand new, brand enchanting media.
Okay.
Anyway, so this is all just to say that FCP is reinventing themselves and moving forward and getting more things that focuses on helping with the branding and getting the word out about Flemington. Not just inside Flemington, but outside of Flemington, which is how you bring people in. The other thing that we're doing with FCP is I am having a meeting here this Thursday, because one of the things that has dawned on me, even though we approved this new process for getting permits, there's still a disconnect, right? And the disconnect is that not everybody is coming together to say how they're impacted, and they certainly don't know how it's impacted, especially for major events. So all departments, all stakeholder departments are meeting here on Thursday to just talk about expectations, talk about what roles and responsibilities are, what they need, so that they can plan, everybody can plan effectively and make this more efficient. And that's not just for Corn, Tomato, and Beer Festival, but it's for other big festivals and also other things that other things that are in the pipeline to happen. So
So it's OEM, or
it's the fire,
Fire.
OEM,
Taco, or technical system, who does the permitting. Maureen?
no, but we should probably invite Maureen. Well, let's just do that as a side note, 'cause I'm
Okay.
not sure that that's applicable in this case.
Okay.
Because one is permitting and the other one is the
DPW.
execution. DPW is definitely in it. All stakeholders that are going to be touching this at the execution phase. Let's just put it that way. Okay. So anyway, that's gonna be on Thursday. The Trent had asked me, switching channels here, Trent had asked a while ago about, can you give something report about what's going on with police and da. And I purposely have not done that because I've been working with the police department on some projects, and we are just finishing up the projects. So that I can, at a point in time, or hopefully next meeting or meeting after that I can talk about what's going on and some of the accomplishments that have been done and some of the things that we are moving forward. So to answer your question, yes, that's coming. I purposely have held off because I wanted everybody to have time to get their footing and get things in writing and get things approved by by our attorneys, as well as the mayor. So that's for that. So I will have something for you. In terms of the speed, one of the things
I'm sorry, in terms of what?
in terms of the speeding, Trent had addressed speeding. One of the things I can tell you is that I talked with the police chief and he's working on, especially on Broad Street, because Broad Street you can do fast, faster, or fastest, depending on how you enter Broad Street. And so they've got some things that they're going to do, and we can discuss those. Some of them we'll discuss publicly, other things that you need to keep in their back pocket, but they are looking at that very, very hard. I've asked them to really pay attention to what's going on, especially during the summer, especially during the evening hours, which seems to be like a go-kart session here on Broad Street. And I've gotten numerous complaints, so I just want to get that resolved. He's gonna work on that with me. Other than that, that would be it.
Thank you. For addressing Broad Street. It's been one of it's my side door and I just watched too many little kids jump back off the street. For
Well,
many years.
Not only that, but it's annoying.
Yeah.
It's annoying, especially when you're pulling out of your,
Yeah.
you're pulling out of your driveway and all of a sudden there's just like someone
Mine's
going
fine.
like 50 miles an hour. It's like,
Mine's
Yeah.
blind, yeah.
We're gonna add another stop sign on it tonight.
I wanted that
hopefully.
stop sign
So,
forever.
we're gonna slow them down.
well, hopefully that would cure, but as you're going down,
Yeah.
you know, it's like when you're going down.
Between Maple and Vegas.
Yes.
is the problem.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
but
Especially now with the fresh pavement.
Oh, yeah, that makes it even better. Now they can, instead of going 55, they can go 75.
Well,
Really fast, yeah. There's such an Annie out in the street.
it should be noted that Broad Street is the longest north-south direct, run in the entire town.
Yeah.
If you go from New Jersey to Route 12, you can go the entire length. It is the longest north-south, and so it is used as a bypass probably more often than others because of that convenience. But that being said, I know that the go-karting things, as we call, I know that's they've had a very similar problem on New Jersey as well.
Well, we're get through it, stop at Bloomfield once
Yeah.
once the CUS project is complete, maybe it's smart to give you that break.
But
Right,
I
have
also-
all the breaks on the one end
Right.
abroad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a long stretch.
Yes, but the other problem is that I'm not really too sure that it's actual borough residents that are contributing to this. I actually think it's more people who are cutting through the borough to get onto 31
Hence
or
my
going
point.
wherever. And so the point of it is that there has to be a clear message that we're not tolerating this. And so the chief is working on something with myself to try to mitigate this a little bit. So we can probably talk about that when we talk about what's going on in the police.
All right, thank you, Councilman. Our attorney,
So I would like to chat with you in the executive session. Can we chat, you and I think we can make Carl's life a lot easier, and then when we come out of executive, we do a resolution at that point.
yeah, I mean, I think
Have it, Gary.
Angela's hanging on and she's
Well, I mean,
exhausted, so
I
we can
think-
let her
I
go.
think you let Angela.
Angela, I think.
Very safe to let Angela.
She's done a good.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Angela.
All right, bye. Thank you so much.
Take care, thank you.
Depends on what the mayor says. I think I got you in mind here, so.
Look it up.
Yeah.
All right, so we're up to public comment period 1. 3 minutes, Robin, anybody from the public who wants to speak? There's nobody online, 0 online, that's exciting.
Very quickly.
Oh, the shirt, Robin.
The shirt and the sparkles, and
Yeah, it's that time of year.
there's no year on it, right?
No.
That's clever,
It's a,
that was smart,
it's evergreen, that's what we call it.
that's smart.
In the brand enchanted world.
Mhm.
So, very quickly, we ran out of spaces using every space we could for the Corn, Tomato and Beer Festival. Really in June, and we've gotten about as creative as we could be. We are 5 vendors away from having like perfect permitting, we believe, and that's amazing. So, thanks to this entire team for working so hard to make so many improvements and everything, and the forms and the communications and in fact, we kind of got yelled at for lying to people that we had to have everything by July 2nd, when in fact, that's not really the case, but we wanted to be early, as we've been told that we are sometimes not early with things, so we've really upped our game, and everyone's contributed, and I feel really good about it. We've actually put all the vendors on the GIS map, which is a very expensive tool that we have for Stangle, but it really allows us to see things at a bird's eye view. When we're actually placing somebody, we can like zoom in and see what door they're in front of, and address people's specific concerns, like do not put somebody with food in front of my door. Okay, fine, we now see your door, we won't put them there. So for all that, and then we've been asked to make other innovations, and other security shifts that are very responsible and right on. And when you only do an event once a year, it's hard to make these changes, but thanks to everyone here's help, we've had meetings. We had a great debrief last year that the mayor organized. We're gonna have a great pre-event meeting.
we've had a walkthrough already with the police. We're in a really good place. So, so that's the good news with that. And, you know, this GIS tool that we bought is incredible. I can kind of show you how it works, because I really think as we return to events on Main Street, having this technology will make it easy for you to have confidence that if somebody aside from myself does a festival with crafters, that like they're actually being put in safe places. It could possibly help the car show. You know, there's lots of applications for GIS mapping of the actual street to the foot in placing vendors. And to that end, we are exploring some new events on Main Street. And I'm really excited to have those conversations, and I thank Tony for helping us work with the police on putting some new things together. We're also looking at doing some things in Court Street Park that would be innovative, like a pumpkin festival, maybe some holiday events. I know you're.
I've got the charity going, I've got the charitable.
This is so good, and so.
What's the name of the Court Street Festival?
It is Saturday or August 10th. Sunday is our rain date. And
From what time to what time?
it's always noon till 8.
Give me a plug here.
And
Thank you very much.
it won't be warm, hopefully it won't be.
Oh, it's gonna be perfect. Yes. And
Snow then.
See that?
Well, snow.
no, no,
We're gonna go for the
I don't know about that.
Just
But
looking
it's,
close.
but anyway, so we welcome volunteers. And we welcome everybody's participation and help that day.
I'm sorry, you said Saturday,
August
August 10th, but then you said rain date is
The rain date's the following day.
The
so the
11th.
11th. Yes.
Robin, how many new vendors? are
There's a lot. Yeah,
there? Approximately, I'm not gonna hold you to a number.
well, you know, we're happy to have happy vendors, and you know, it's a very long day. You really have to be able to
But how many do
prepare.
we think? Do we think like 20, like
No,
20
I
new
would
vendors,
say-
15 new vendors, 5 vendors?
I would say that, I would say about at least 40% are new
That's
vendors.
a, that's a high,
I saw a lot of things. Yes,
that's a high number.
yes,
Good.
It's good to rotate in once in a while.
it is. I will tell you, we have
That
more,
was my
we have
first
more
question.
food than we've ever had, ever. And we have corn, and we have some awesome, we ask people, we tell people that they have to do a corn tomato. Of course, that's maybe beer, not beer, it doesn't really matter, but they have to incorporate corn and tomato themes into whatever they're cooking, so. There will be cornbread donuts and
That's interesting.
and yes, a whole lot of interesting tomato products, and we even tell our crafters that they really should sell some corn tomato themed things as well.
So it's interesting, I went to a festival this weekend, typically, as an annual arts festival. And the reason I asked the question about the new vendors is because I asked the question of them, it's like, so I've gone like several years in a row. And each year they rotate the vendors out, and they have all new vendors. And the reason they do that is because it keeps people coming. Right, it's different food each time, it's different arts and crafts each time. It's different music each time, and the reason they do that is because it does keep the curiosity for next year, and so you're not going back into the same thing, so that's why I asked that question.
We have a rice ball truck. We have a Hawaiian Maui barbecue truck with other things we have some cool stuff, so we're excited. And then we also have an awesome group of nonprofits, including like Black River and Western Railroad, and they do a festival hopper train that's like a short train ride just to give people a chance who come to Flemington for the festival to really experience things that are more authentic to what we're about. So
How many people attended last year?
Oh, boy, I think we were sort of in the 7,000-ish range.
So the year before it was
Seemed like a lot
10
more.
to 12, and then last year
In
was.
twenty
say 10 to
twenty-two,
12?
2022 was 10 to 12,000. It was a mopsy.
Wow.
So
was a
last year our estimates, I think, were between 7 and.
Why did it drop?
We had crazy storms that we had.
Oh,
great
that's
severe
right.
Weather.
Oh, I forgot about
planned,
that.
so-
2022, the weather was absolutely
Perfect,
perfect
right.
that day. It was like.
That's
in the
right, last
low
year we had
80s.
that crazy threat
So
all
what's-
day and then.
Weird storms, it got really dark, it
Yeah.
didn't
But it
look
didn't
good.
actually, I mean, I was there all day, it didn't
We got
actually,
lucky.
yeah.
But it's kept people away.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, that's what we'll do, right?
Yeah.
Kept
Yeah.
people away. Okay,
Well, thank you
Thanks,
very
Robin.
much.
thanks, Robin.
And just comment, the fact that the FCP went out and got this ArcGIS software is absolutely phenomenal for public safety planning. We're so thrilled with what they did and put on. This is what they use at the state level. For event planning, so to have access to what we have for this is. So,
You did it last year. too, right?
Robin heard me screaming from the rooftops that we needed something better and she
Maybe we
went and got
should,
me the
maybe
best.
we should give us a secret service.
No, it's expensive, it's a very elite, expensive tool,
It is.
but it has incredible value and elasticity, so we could, we can use this for lots of different things now that we.
It will benefit us townwide for years.
Great.
They have it.
Great.
Thank you.
And with this software, we do create a public map so that the public can actually
Oh.
just go take, open their phone, see exactly where they are and walk up and down and. If you see a vendor that you like, it actually gives you their information.
So many layers to it.
So I will say this from a council standpoint, because one of our things Robin noted, and I want to make sure that I stress that. Is volunteers, well, she really does need us to help her.
Mm.
Because I did it last year, there's a lot of work to do before people hit that pavement. So I'm gonna reach out to all of you guys and just say, please, even if it's a half hour. To please support us. I mean, this is kind of like, this is us and this is what we are about, and we're inviting people into our neighborhood, and so we need to make sure the table is set properly. So, please reach out to Robin.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. All right, we have approval of minutes, May 13th, regular session.
Well, move.
For a second,
Parker.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have nothing on the consent agenda. We do have the introduction of the ordinance for the compliance checklist for the planning board, replacing the old checklist. And this will go back, once if you introduce it tonight, it will go back to the planning board for confirmation, then they'll send it back prior to the August meetings. Well, hopefully tomorrow night to look at it, because they wrote it, so they should be okay with it, so. Can I have a motion to introduce 24-18?
Long move.
Is there a second?
So second.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Engelhardt?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fasar?
Yes.
Councilman Levitt?
Yes.
Council President Long?
Yes.
Councilman Parker?
Yes.
And Council Vice President Rossetti?
Public hearing should be August, what is that date? Is that the 12th? August 12th, August 12th meeting should be. All right, we have one public hearing tonight, which is ordinance 2024-17, which adds the four-way stop to Williams and Broad Street as per recommendation by our traffic committee and our traffic consultant and the chief of police. And then we'll limit the spots that are in the site distance easement to compact cars only. Can I have a motion to open up a public hearing?
Sorry.
No, is there a second?
Long second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing is now open. If you have any comments on this ordinance, please come to the microphone. Or raise your hand if there's anybody online. Seeing none, can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Engelhardt will move.
Long second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, can I have a motion to adopt, please? Is there a second? Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Engelbert?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fedora?
Yes.
Councilman Levitt?
Yeah.
Council President Long?
Yes.
Councilman Parker?
Yes.
And Council Vice President Jose?
Yes.
Okay, regular agenda resolution 2024-108, authorizing the 2024-2025 school tax payments to Hunter Central Regional High School. It's a statutory. Can I have a motion to approve?
Engelhardt will move.
Is there a second?
Cardinal second.
Roll call, please. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Engelhardt?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fedora?
Yes.
Councilman Levitt?
Yes.
Council President Long?
Abstain.
Yeah, that's the same. It's gonna get the work.
I went there. I didn't abstain.
Councilman Parker?
Yes.
And Council Vice President Jose?
Okay, thank you. Resolution 2024-109, approval to submit a grant application and executed grant agreement with the New Jersey Department of Transportation for the NJ.MA 2025 NJ.FY25 road improvement project, as discussed earlier. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Parker second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Engelbert?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fedora?
Yes.
Councilman Levitt?
Yes.
Council President Long?
Yes.
Councilman Parker?
Yes.
And Council Vice President Jose?
Yes.
Okay, we're into our work session, so I want to apologize that I didn't get around to doing the signs the way I did banners. I actually got 3/4 or more through it and walked away from my computer and totally forgot. I'm gonna be totally honest, but I had basically done the same. I'm gonna circulate that probably in the next couple of days, way ahead of our next meeting. And you all can opine on it, it's a little bit more complicated than this, anyway.
We'll have another session.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna do, yeah, next month, Carla, can you repeat the work session?
The same thing.
Same thing, we'll see how far we get, yeah, because the banners thing, Tony and I discussed this all weekend and. Banner, there's a lot of layers to this, we've got to figure out where it's gonna get hung. And what company, what kind of banner mechanics we want. And,
Mike is specific.
so, we want it to be something that's, I guess, relatively easy. And then, the fire department gonna be doing the hanging, is DPW gonna be doing the hanging? Or is it gonna be a private company, which I don't want, I would not like to see that, but.
We can avoid private.
Yeah.
It saves so much money.
So basically, I kind of put into writing what we talked about at the last meeting, and the stuff at the top is really this applicable to everybody. That prior to ordering, all banner art has to be approved by the Flemington Borough Public Art Committee. We have this new committee, it gives them something to, to do in absence of somebody actually wanting to put public art out.
Well, we do stuff.
I know you do, but it's like, like you might get 1 or 2 public art applications.
I
a
know,
year.
I know, but it was
This
just
is
too easy.
The bad, I know, I don't know how else to phrase it, but the public, what Tony suggested, the Borough Public Art Committee, I thought that was a really good idea. And the banners must be supplied by the entity on the permit. So whoever's listed on the permit, they have to buy, they have to pay for them. Banners are permitted to be installed. Anybody have a problem with that?
Okay, I didn't realize that the public art committee was gonna be dealing with temporary signage. Don't we have a process for temporary signage yet? Like who approves temporary signage now?
Nobody.
Nobody.
They walk in and what they do or they don't pay $50 for a sign, they put up whatever they want.
And
So that's part of the next work session comments, I guess.
So Tony's idea was the public art committee could look at the banners
Because we're already doing.
and I thought that was a good idea. All banners are permitted to be installed 14 days prior to their event. All banners must be removed within 2 days of the conclusion of the event. Because somebody else is gonna want that space. I mean, it's gotta be a fast takedown.
That's what the problem was, 20 years ago, was that people were kind of on top of each other with the schedule, so yeah, that coming down is important, just as important as going up.
Yep. Flemington Borough has the right to cancel any banner within 3 weeks of an event for any reason. So somebody from Raritan Township wants our space, we say sure. And then Robin comes up with this, I don't know,
Great about.
Right, the President's Own is coming to Flemington to play marching music if we wanna.
Are we then liable for? What if they paid for their song already though, like?
Why it's in here, that we have the right to cancel any ban within 3 weeks. And why our attorney's sitting here looking so.
No,
excited.
I mean, I think it's legal.
It's legal, is it not? Is it nice? That's, it's not, I'm not.
Viable, sure.
We have to have a really good
It's
reason.
very nice.
If the President of the United States decides to come to Flemington and we want, isn't that a good reason to say to the Chamber of Commerce, sorry, you can't advertise the.
Depends on who the president is. Did I say that?
I don't care who the president is, the president.
I'm joking,
Respect the
I'm
office.
joking. Yeah, I don't know if that's very nice, I don't.
Trent has a question.
Go ahead.
No concerns over things like, regulating content, like it's not like people have a right to put this up and.
They do not.
Just,
No.
if we don't like it, we don't.
So the
allow
old
it.
banner policy basically was silent on that fact.
Right.
And this kind of protects us because the public art committee will look at it. It's gotta go through the permitting process,
Sure.
so.
But if we just, don't like it, it's some, I don't know, religious event or something, we go, I don't really care for that one.
We don't have to approve just because they're willing to pay and we have the space open. We do not have to approve it.
If it doesn't fit in our vision values, then we
Yeah.
need to do that, right?
Right.
I mean, it's all about our vision and values.
Right.
Well, but it's also,
You're in competition, so.
but it's also about, I mean, it's just the same thing with public art. The bottom line is it fit with our vision and values, to fit with our values. I mean, all those can.
Yeah, no, that's a valid point. Councilman.
I'm not saying that.
No, no, no,
I'm not
I,
saying
it,
that
it is
it's
at
a
the discretion of the
discriminatory
council.
type thing.
You know, if the public art committee has a question about an event, well, actually, it would start with, I assume Maureen and Carla with us doing the permit for this and raising a question saying, before this goes on, right? So, I mean, of course, there's gonna be some kind of this is just ideas this is just a draft set of kind of policy rules versus some legal document that they're gonna have to fill out that the attorney is gonna do. All these layers, that's why I said we're gonna be talking about this for a while until we get it done. All entities must name the borough as an additional insured. Applicants must fill out the public art approval form and supply artwork at the time of application, not less than 30 days prior to the hanging of the banner. Upon approval, the permit fee, hanging fee, and insurance certificate are due within 3 business days of said approval. Separate check shall be made out. If it's gonna be the fire department hanging it, they get a donation. So,
But we don't know 100%, right?
we don't know that, it's a suggestion and the fire department has to say, yeah, we're willing to do it. Let us know how much money they're thinking about as a donation. Any event advertised in the borough but held outside the borough shall occur an additional $50 for the permit. So for example, the Chamber of Commerce, the County Chamber of Commerce, they host the Christmas parade every year. They're in the borough and that event is in the borough. So that would be whatever. They also host the County Community Day in Raritan Township. That would incur an additional $50 for the permit because they're now suggesting to people they leave our borough and spend their day not here with us. Okay, so far. Government permit fees, so this is what the fees would be. This is a draft, guys. I'm not married to any of this. So Flemington Borough approved events, which include the fire department examples, fire department, SVP, police department, Flemington Public Library, etc. So these are official events hosted by the borough, capital T, capital B. No permit fee required, banner hanging charge, some kind of donation to the fire department. County government events. Since we are the county seat, no permit fee required if the events held within the borough. But a $50 permit fee for county's advertised events held outside the borough. And then there would be a donation to the fire department. An example of that is if the county decides they want to advertise Deer Path concerts in Reddington Township across from Flemington Borough, they should pay for that versus having something here, So, and then our 100 municipalities, again, a $50 permit fee required because they're out of the borough, because they're not advertising anything in Flemington. They're gonna advertise their own community day or whatever, and also some donation to the fire department, and then not-for-profit organizations. Flemington Borough not-for-profit events, a $50 banner permit fee, and then the hanging charge to the donation to the fire department. The non-Flemington Borough not-for-profit events, $100 banner permit fee. And then something to the fire department. And for profit entities, Flemington Borough for-profit events, $100 banner permit fee and a hanging charge, and non-Flemington Borough for-profit business events, a $250 banner permit fee. So an example of that would be for-profit, Blessed Wellness decides to do a big splashy opening, and they want a banner announcing it. It's $100 because they're a borough business. Township business wants to do the same thing, it's $250 because they're taking them out of our town. So those are just suggestions on amounts. Tony and I discussed, there's a big difference between the little temporary signs we talked about, potentially going with the event permit. So somebody pays an event permit fee and they get X number of temporary signs included in that fee. The banner is
Lawn
special.
signs, you're saying.
Huh?
Lawn
Lawn signs, right, the banner is special, it's different. People have been having events in this town forever without a banner. So Tony and I felt strongly that the banner should have its own fee. It does not go automatically with any permit.
Agree with that. But I think we could increase some of these fees to the county and other municipalities.
Like I said, this is, I just put something on here for you guys to react to,
See what you.
just for you to react
You
to.
think what it should be?
Anything
higher?
that's gonna
What do you
take-
think is higher? Like when you say higher, it should-
Anything that's gonna take business out of Flemington,
Yeah,
yeah, but what do you think that should be?
you wanna double it?
I'm thinking 150.
So
150 is,
Actually,
I
before,
think the county's
before we
got plenty
start,
of money.
before we start
They
debating,
literally have a surplus now.
I know.
I think before we start debating how much, my question, and I don't mean to count by yours, but I think my question actually could come before yours, and that is the minimum fees here, does that cover the work that Carla and Maureen have to do in the office? So I wanna make sure that even the minimum fees cover the work that needs to be done, I guess. I get that's.
Well, and that, and I
Carla
think we
said
might.
she's just pushing it back.
Okay, well, I
I
someone,
actually have a
we
board.
just recently upped some of our fees because of that same reason, so I wanna make sure that's.
Oh,
Well,
right.
maybe Carla, so this is a draft, maybe Carla and Maureen can talk about.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's in line with our other permit fees or it should be higher.
My question would be, what's the cost in terms of that donation to the fire department?
We don't know.
No, because.
Sure,
that's the
we-
council-
The council president did talk, bring it up at their last fire meeting,
They said they had-
and they wanted to consider. They wanted to consider it, well, they didn't say they had any issues, they had a lot of questions, like, what's the mechanism, and where's it gonna be?
Well, that's my
Like, we
question,
don't
like,
know.
what is the mechanism and how expensive is it to maintain?
We don't know.
We don't
know.
know that.
So,
We don't
well, we're
know.
gonna have to know.
Old ones
This
are
is
like-
No.
this is the first,
So we can make money off of it.
I think if you make it too high, no business will
So-
want to hang.
right,
So here's the point. There's a lot of moving pieces, two parts going on this. Mike Campion is actually looking into actually what kind of mechanism that would actually work. He's also working with JCP&L to see if they'll do the actual installation of whatever mechanism. That's the second thing. The third thing is the placement, because the old mechanism was actually on just Jeff Cuss.
the old mechanism went from the Union
And so-
Hotel to a
so
lantern
that
outside
might
the
be
historic
out.
courthouse.
So we might have to push it down further.
Well, maybe you should, anyway.
So, but again, because it's gotta go from here to here, and
Right.
so there's some limitations in doing that, so that's what he's. Before we even get to that point, he's doing all of that investigation for us to figure out what's best, right? And then once he figures out what's best, then we will talk about what mechanism we will actually go after. And then at that point, we can talk about who's going to be. Like how the ease of putting up, putting down, because that's what we're really looking for. We're looking for something that goes up in 5 minutes and comes down in 5 minutes. I'm just saying, I mean, it may take a half hour, but the bottom line is anything that's easier than it was. Because my understanding before it was an absolute like.
Yeah, but the fire department, I mean, we just wanna know what they would consider a fair donation to do this. And if they are willing to do it, if not, then it's a conversation with DPW. And, you know, it would come down to like, the average hourly salary of a DPW worker or requiring them to do it on overtime because they're so busy.
And then we
certain
would build
times in the
that
year.
into the price.
Right,
Yeah,
so it's
exactly.
just, but we have to find out, like, once we know what the mechanism is, we'll know, is this a 2 hour thing, is it a 1 hour thing? Cause we don't know.
Yeah.
To me,
There's
it's.
a lot of things
you're
we
gonna-
don't know, but
it's
this
a
is
slam
trying
dunk.
to,
It's a good
we're
start.
just starting to move
It's a good
things into
start.
place so
Yeah.
that we're prepared for this.
Okay.
Because we'd like to get it done.
So,
sooner than
okay,
later.
so regarding what you brought up about the money, I think Carla and Maureen should really kind of look at the fees, whether they're in line with what they think about other fees and how long it would take them to actually do the paperwork, so.
I think there's there's a balance here that we need to find. And when this, for those that were around when this old banner was around, I distinctly remember. And I suspect it was probably because of the lack of cost or, to people that
It
wanted
cost
to
us
install it. It was
so much
Right,
money.
no, I mean
So
for
much.
the applicants, not for the borough, right? So I think there's a balance here that we need to find, because I remember years ago, we had people that were just on top of each other, trying to schedule, and we were having a lot of conflicts. And I think that was also because we weren't charging enough.
We weren't charging anything.
Or anything, I don't even remember, it was nothing,
It was costing us-
it was hardly anything that the applicant was
Every
charging,
banner
but-
was costing the
but
borough between
us, it was-
$450 and $500 to
Right,
hang in town.
that's my
Every
point.
banner.
That is
Take
exactly
down
my
another
point.
500.
No,
Right,
no,
so-
I think it's total.
No, Mike said 500 to take up and 500, no, he said,
the street.
yes, because they had to close the street, they had to do all kinds of stuff.
Somebody literally ran it across the street.
Yeah, it's actually.
Hooked
much
it
more
up, and then
expensive.
you had to have two people on each side that plug lugged it up.
That's just stupid.
But that doesn't.
But they make systems now where you have the cables that go across, you hook it up on one side and it literally just pulls across the
Zip
other.
like a zip
Or you
line.
buy a bucket truck, which we don't have.
So, and that's my
That's
point,
why we're.
we need to
that's
find that balance
required.
of, it's worth their it's worth the time for them to invest in the product, but it doesn't.
It's their time,
No, you're.
and you don't know if they're available.
Well, but that's
You-
what, that's what
their
they're bringing to the
equipment
table,
needs
that's what
their
they're discussing,
equipment.
but that's what they're discussing, so. I'd rather
Yeah,
let
they gotta
them
work.
discuss that.
Well,
and tell
it's our
us yes or
equipment.
no.
Maybe we come back.
I mean, it's our
Well,
equipment.
they can all because it's all.
It's a good idea, because I love the idea.
It's more volume.
Like, I love the idea. If, as long as it's neutral. It'll be great.
We know it's a lot of money.
Oh, no, we would absolutely, we're definitely not gonna pay for this, I mean, that was.
No,
Yeah.
we can't. I mean, if it's our thing,
That's what you're responsible.
the
for.
borough of Flemington hosts something, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But,
Just making us.
No, exactly, I.
You guys know.
I mean, Hunter and Helpline, when they do the salsa festival, their permit will get them X number of stakeable little lawn signs. But they want a banner, it's extra, there's just, cause it can't cost the borough money.
Yeah.
Councilwoman Engelhardt, anything else?
No, my point was made with everybody else.
Well, and I think to Susan's point, but Susan, here's the thing, even though that was great, it doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna negate that happening again because people are paying, right? Because again, if the cost is $100 for someone to display something is not a lot of money, so that doesn't mean that that's gonna take that cadence away, that cadence may still exist.
I wasn't arguing that, I was actually trying to encourage more that I wanna make sure we were charging enough, that was my point.
Agree,
That's what I-
here by both of you.
Agreed. So I was going back to Adrian's point and saying the cadence, that's what you started with, so the cadence may slow up depending upon if it's 250 or 500, right? And I'm not saying 500, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that might slow the cadence, but if it's $100, the cadence may still.
Yeah.
I'm sure we can
Yeah.
find
Look,
the exact point.
Yeah.
Main Street in Flemington Borough is prime advertising territory. Because not only does the donut come through the hole constantly, but it's the county seat, so everybody needs a passport or some kind of, county record, there's the court, they're coming into town, so. If a business or a not-for-profit outside of Flemington Borough thinks that they're gonna, bump up their visibility. This is like way cheaper than taking in an advertisement out of the Star Ledger or the Courier News or something on 101.5. You know, so they'll make their own decisions based on their business budget, right? So so Carla and Maureen will go over these Cs and bump them up where they see applicable. What else? Anything, because the next step to this would be having our attorney turn it into a document for people to sign. We need the Public Arts Committee will design, they've got a form already, I think. They just need to maybe tweak it, maybe not, I don't know. But that part of this whole little thing will be
I
done.
think you're ready for that until you get your feedback from the DPW and the fire department.
Well, we need to, right, so that, I mean,
It's almost the same thing.
This is the part I can control.
Step one.
It's the only part I can control is this. I can't control. Cause I wouldn't know even where to start looking at mechanisms and what's gonna work,
Yeah,
what's
well,
not.
Mike is-
Thank you for working on this, because it's gonna be a good thing, it's always fun to see, you know, a banner across town.
It is.
It was
It
fun
is.
years ago, it'll be fun again, and it'll also
It
not
adds a-
cost us anything
It
either.
adds an excitement to the town. So, what else? Councilman?
No, I think.
Council Vice
Sorry.
President?
And I don't think
No?
we treat the form that much, I think the form actually.
All right, well, in that case, you're gonna keep this on the agenda for the next month. Carla will give us some feedback. On the prices, I got a consensus that it's probably too low, especially for out of town stuff. Not for in town stuff, out of town stuff. We want to encourage people doing stuff in Flemington. Attorney Christina, you have a copy of this, right?
I don't believe I do, Mayor,
No, it's right there.
I would have it.
Here, for some reason, Carla left me with extra copies, so
I will.
you can have, in fact, you can have two, so you can.
Swear I would want, Mayor, thank you.
Right, redundancy is good, all right, so, he's laughing because he knows it's true, the sergeant, redundancy is good, right? You wish you had redundancy. Okay, so that's that, and then the next work session, we'll talk about banners and the temporary signs, and I'll be better organized. Okay, we're up to public comment session number 2. Nobody online, okay. Moving right along, payment of bills, authorizing payment of bills in the amount of $1,365,277.91. Can I have a motion? Is there a second? Roll call please.
Councilwoman Engelhardt.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pizarro.
Yes.
Councilman Levitt.
Yes.
Council President Long.
Yes.
Councilman Parker.
Yes.
And Council Vice President Levesey.
Okay, we have our executive session, for negotiations, Cardinal Captiva Courthouse Square, contract negotiations on Blessed Wellness. Action will be taken afterwards on the PSNS proposal to do the outside pit and pump. Can I have a motion to go into executive session? Can I have a second?
Parker second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to take a recess till 9 p.m.
Are you part of Mr. Gray?
I don't want to ever say.
Throw it over into
Yeah, the resolution that you have, it's just, I don't want anyone ever saying that you voted on something without. So, I typed this resolution just now while we were talking, this just amends PSNS appointment earlier this year. It adds in the money that you authorized last time, which was the voice vote. I don't want to get in the habit of doing that. So I added that money. Oh, it's fine, you can do it once, but if you're gonna amend a contract more than once, you should amend the resolution. So this will get you the number, Marcia check my math, that's the math you have for the break, now we get to strike some. You end up on, let me bring it up.
75.
78.5.
45, 5 is 83, plus 8 is 91. 92, 1,
Did the math,
what you get?
did the math on my phone,
91, 6, 92.
so I asked to check my math, it was math on my phone while people were talking, so it's always dangerous,
45,
so.
78 is 83.
Entirely possible
Plus
that.
8 is 91, and 6. Oh, no, you're right.
It
You're
just-
right.
Yeah, I just did math on my phone and people were talking, so I always wanna do quality
91,
control,
6
right?
is right.
And
Sorry,
this-
I had another fucking.
And this resolution number will be 110.
110, so what this resolution does is it authorizes the full extent of the work that was authorized at the last meeting and discussed in this meeting. In a non-fair and open contract that you awarded earlier this year, with regards to the spending of the money, Marcia wanted to put some qualifying language. I don't think that's necessary, I just think that Marcia has to tell, give specific instructions on when the money is to be spent. If those instructions are not complied with, then the money should not be spent. If it's
Right.
working for you, then must follow your instructions.
Yep.
And that's excellent, and she'll do what you tell me, so.
Yep.
And beyond that, any, any questions you may have, by all means, ask me, but it's better to do it this way, and I did the original resolution anyway, so I know how to amend it.
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing is just very, Angela's upset about it. She's really upset about it. I mean, it's like the bottom line is, Mike Campion, they were at the site meetings, they went over everything. Angela put it all in writing. Mike was copied on it, but I think that they thought they had more time to react. And, she just plowed right forward and did all this work like really fast, and then sent them the final product and Ken had a meltdown.
Yeah.
And said, after the fact, no, I want it outside. But, like that was never.
It was never a
explained
conversation.
Before, right,
Yeah.
during or
It was never
whatever.
a conversation.
So it's there's nobody at fault here.
None at all.
No, it's just unfortunate, so. Anyway, can I have a motion to accept this resolution? For a second.
So second.
Any other presentation?
Good video, right?
Roll call, please.
So,
Yes.
video.
Councilman Levitt,
Yes.
Council President Wong.
Yes.
Councilman Parker.
Yes.
And Council Vice President.
He said yes. Go quiet. Okay, that's it. Motion to adjourn. For a second,
For a second.
all in favor? Anybody want to talk about selling the department?
God,
God, no.
Are we all?